Right, welcome to this terrain tutorial, and this video really is just going to try and answer one of the common questions that I get on the channel, and that is how I go about setting up my terrain. So what I'm going to do is just going to show you from start to finish how I go about setting up a whole terrain board ready for a game. So we're going to go step by step, and if you follow these stages along, then you can enhance the terrain that you already have, make it a table you'd be proud to fight on. So first thing, we're going to go for desert terrain. Nice flat surface here. I've made a plywood table. It's 8 foot long, so I've got 6 foot here, and then 2 foot for putting your rules and counters and miniatures at the end there. Nice and flat, and it's just a good surface then to lay out your terrain. You need a good flat surface, whether you're using a battle mat like I'll be using here, or your own board. That's the first foundation to have. This table, I've actually cut it down the centre here and put hinges on it, so I can fold it up and put it away if you're using your space for other things. So I've got one of the new battle mats here from gamemat.eu. It's very handy. This is stage 1, that's your foundation. You need a foundation to your board, and battle mats are a quick way to solve that. So it's sort of a dried riverbed. This one looks very nice. So that's laid out, and because you've got the flat surface underneath, then your foundation here sits very nicely. There's a nice surface. The battle mats are good, figure friendly, nice and flat. They sit flat, and nice for dice rolling and so on, and it just gives you your colours and your starting place for the board as you build up the rest of the terrain. So then you've got terrain pieces here. This is sort of custom made terrain that I've got, but whatever terrain you're going to use, whether it's your own stuff or terrain you bought from somewhere else, you just place your terrain on the table however you want to arrange it. So I think this one would look quite nice just here. I think for this scenario, we're going to be filming a new game here with Blood Angels and Night Lords. I'm going to build the terrain up around this river, so we'll make a canyon here out of this dried river. So you try and think of an overall theme for your table. Use your imagination. So I'm going to lay out these pieces of terrain here and see what we come up with. Right, so that's the terrain set up there. You're just sort of evenly putting your pieces out across the table. Maintain that valley running up there. So that looks alright as it is. And I suppose a lot of people would leave it that way, and really what follows next is how you can enhance that terrain that's up. I mean, that looks nice enough as it is, to be honest. The terrain matches in nicely with the battle map, but I want to blend. The key here is blending the edges of your terrain that you've made. So you've got your board here, and then this edge, and I like to sort of blend that in to match it in with the terrain to make it look as natural as possible. I've kept a couple of the craters here spare, so if during the game a vehicle explodes, blows up, you can actually replace it with one of these craters just for extra realism. If you're painting an army up and you're doing the best that you can, it's nice to play on nice terrain to go with it. I think it's worth putting the effort in to make it look good. So go on to the next stage here, and you'll see how much this enhances the table. Right, so next stage is I put stones or scatter around the edges here. I'll show you what I mean. So I've got a bag here of stones. I actually got these from a beach. Beaches seem to be one of the best places you can pick up some stones from. Or you can get them from garden centres. Often they do different types of bags of gravel. The only thing is with stuff that you buy, it's probably been sieved and sorted out into different sizes, so you'll get more of a uniform size to the stones that you get. So I recommend getting them from the beach if you can, but obviously that may not be practical for all of you, so you can get them from garden centres would be a good spot for getting hold of these stones. So I just got a bag here. The stones are different sizes, and because they're from the beach, they're sort of this worn out, they've got a worn, rounded look to them. I just take handfuls of the stones and then just tuck them in around the edge of the board. Not everywhere, but just around the edge like that. And you can see now that that just breaks up that edge between your piece of terrain and the board that you're fighting on. A couple of loose stones here and there, but that just adds to the effect. That's no problem at all. Now, I'm not putting heaps around. I'm leaving gaps here and there. I don't think there's any need to put absolutely loads on. And then just around the other side here. People say it must take you ages to do it all. Not really, you're just throwing them around. It's quite good fun doing it. So you're being random, but there is some neatness to it. Just in little groups like that. You may fill out this area here with more stones. There's a couple of big stones here I might chuck in. That's it, just to make a area of rough ground. For rules purposes, we just say that your terrain piece edge marks the actual edge of the terrain, the rest is for show. And if you go by that rule, then it's fine. That's why I sort of leave some outline and pile it right up so you can still see where the actual line of the terrain is. But that just shows you've got a piece of terrain sitting there, looks like it's just been placed. Then here it's been truly planted by the stones. That's really helped. And actually these stones here are the same stones I used to make this terrain, so the shape of them matches. If you really want to go for a matching colours, I mean generally these look good. I have actually sprayed stones before, put them in a box, sifted them, moved them around and then sprayed on top of them the matching colour for this, or whatever you're doing, and that's actually helped blend them in even more. If you look at the urban terrain, the ruined city, and the stones that we use, and they're actually a different colour, but I actually sprayed them the same grey as the custom terrain that I've made, just to match them in even more. But for this, they look fine. I think this colour, these colours here match all right. They look pretty good. So I'm just going to do the rest of the board here with the stones, and then you'll get an overall view of how it looks. That's the overall effect with the stones. Really getting that kind of desert feel now with that stone there, and it's blending the whole board in quite nicely. It's easy to pack up. I mean, you just the boards here are flexible. You just move them, all the stones go with them. As you pack away, so it's quite straightforward to clear up. Just get a hold of some nice stones, and then you can really enhance the board that you have. You just don't go overboard with it, just in patches, just to blend it in. And then we've kept the dried riverbed there. Just a side note here for vegetation. I'm not going to do it in this one because I really want the desert effect here, but for these, you just place out whatever it is, your trees or your bush or your jungle, like so. And then just scatter some stones around them once they've been placed. It's easy to do. I think I'm going to leave out the jungle for this one. I really want there to be no vegetation at all. Right, the next stage, and I think it's quite an important one. I've got myself a bag of lichen here, and it's in the colour to match the terrain. It's just kind of golden, dead look to it. You just take your lichen, and again, without going overboard, you just place it in areas around your terrain. And again, that helps to break up the edges and add some more interest to your table. You're just subtly introducing, I mean, it's quite bright, this orange here, but you sort of get used to it being on the table. See, I'm just placing it in there, and again, that just helps to break up the terrain. Place a bit over here, and again, I don't want to go overboard here because it is meant to be a desert board, but some dead bushes really help enhance this table. Look at that, it looks good. And then just placing it just here and there across the tables. It's quite a small bag that I've got here of lichen, but it will be enough for this desert. Don't want loads. Anyway, I'm just going to place some around the base of there. And you just adding that across the table. Just get the rest of this board done. Right, so that's the table done with the lichen now. So just again, you're just tucking it in to the edge of your terrain pieces, and that's just helping to blend it in a bit more, just adding a little bit more colour to the table, a little bit more interest, but it's keeping it realistic. There would be dead scrub and bushes around like that, so you've built it up quite nice. You've got your stones, and then together with the lichen, that's created quite a nice effect. Definitely a desert feel to this terrain here. Right, then the last thing I add, don't always add it to the table, but I often do, and that's just some Battlefield accessories, just to give the table Warhammer 40,000 feel. So you add in some just different things. You can customise your own stuff, like a burnt out vehicle, piece of terrain, just some kind of feature, and that can really enhance the table, make it like have a lot of interest to it. So just this one, just some basic ones here, and it's just the Games Workshop accessories pack here they do. So you've got tank traps and barrels, and you're just looking to place them on the table. And again trying to think of some kind of theme. I reckon maybe this area here could be blocked off by tank traps. Like that, and then we'll just have one sort of loose across here. Just thinking of perhaps an Imperial position that's been abandoned. So you just place them. It's entirely up to you. If you're doing a theme, then you can place them according to the storyline that you're doing, or just to fill out areas of the table. It's quite empty, this terrain. It's quite open as far as line of sight is concerned. So like a few accessories and barricades for units to hide behind, or just add a bit of cover, on a practical side as far as the game's concerned as well. Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking, I just wander around usually and sort of think where I can put these things. I reckon like here would be a good spot for an old compound. So I'm just going to put out the boxes and the barrels here. This is some kind of order. Like it has been some kind of base camp for a while. Build up the boxes and the barrels here. Put a third one on top. There's no harm doing that. There's some canisters. Maybe look quite good laid across. Just make it look abandoned. And then maybe a dump of barrels just here. And the cool thing about the barrels, keeping them loose, you can sort of stack them up and makes them look really good. Might put a few behind here. And that looks alright. So I've put my barrels and bits out, and then I've kept some stones spare. You'll need some spare stones, remember, just if you put craters out somewhere else on the table and put some stones around them. Only takes seconds to do it. And then I'm just going to, I want these accessories to become part of the battlefield. So I'm just going to scatter a few stones around them. It helps to place them on the table, make it look like they've been there for a while as well. You haven't just placed them down, but they're truly part of the terrain as well. That's looking pretty good. So we've got ourselves a nice little Imperial compound there. I've just set up some other tank traps just by the river here. Just common sense. I mean, this is the area where people will be crossing, or tanks trying to get through. Don't make it impregnable. You've got to be practical as far as the game is concerned. Someone might want to try and occupy this. It's not going to give too much advantage as far as the game is concerned. I mean, setting up your table, you've got to try and keep it even. Whoever you're playing it's not going to like it if it's biased. So it's generally even here. Perhaps a slight advantage over this side of the table, but not much. There's still decent enough terrain to hide behind in this corner, and there's sort of an even spread of terrain across the table. Right, the final thing, the table's pretty much done. That's ready for a game, and I hope you can see it just by adding a few layers. Then you've managed to create a nice piece of terrain here with a strong theme, and then just a few accessories helps make it a real 40k themed battlefield. Final thing here, and that's odds and ends and bits that I've painted up. And in here I've got pieces of urban terrain, spare bit. I've got pieces of vehicle here. I haven't spent ages painting them, just silver and then some washes and just a dry brush over the top. But what's really cool about these, I'll show you the different things you can do. Here's pieces of a vehicle here, just different parts. painted up. Say a vehicle is destroyed here, then you can put out, I mean this is just showing off here, but you can put out your bits like that, so people can see in the game that it was a vehicle there and it's blown up, and that's the chunks of metal that have been left behind. That can look really cool as well, or you can just scatter them randomly around the table. And the other thing I love doing is taking spare weapons. There's a las gun here, there's a Vox, a couple more las guns, and then just leaving them around the table as well. Again, you can create a theme to your table. So I'm just going to put these in the, I reckon, in the compound. Guardsmen have been defending the compound, and then some weapons have been abandoned. And I think that just adds to the theme of the table. So there's been an outpost that's been held, there's some rusty weapons left behind, and again just sort of stirs the imagination, just adds a nice touch to the table. I would like to work on next. If you've got an old kit that you don't like, or one that's damaged, or it's been painted rough and you don't know what to do with it, then just turn it into a wreck. I haven't made any yet, but I do plan to. Just make a few burnt out wrecks. It would be excellent features to any terrain table as well. So that's the tutorial. I've managed to create a desert theme here with an abandoned Imperial outpost. That's the terrain. I hope that's sort of given you a step-by-step guide as to how you can create your own. So get a hold of a battle mat or a similar foundation. You can make your own. Then you have your terrain. Then you blend it in with stones and scatter. Add some bushes as well. And then some 40k themed accessories just to enhance your table. So there it is. It's the same process I use for all the tables that I do, and I hope this video helps you as you set up your own tables for games in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. So thanks for watching, and tune in next time.